Well, you know what time it is right here on KAZ Radio, where we have those two crazy guys. We've got issues with Don and Mike. Take it away, Don or Mike.
Hey, you know what I'll tell you, everybody? Welcome to We've Got Issues. You know, we got issues. Welcome, Cleveland. It's another great day. The Browns are winning 7-3. We'll get to the Browns later in the second half hour. We got our homer here. We got Duran Freeman. Give him a round of applause. I have been knowing Duran for such a long time, but let's start the show in prayer like we always do.
Absolutely.
All right. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, and we ask that you complete the work that you've begun in each of us. Let us see as you see and do as you say. Amen.
Amen.
So, yeah, the Browns are starting. We'll get back to that Browns thing here in just a moment. But again, welcome everybody to We've Got Issues. We're happy to have you out there listening in Facebook, YouTube, and KAZ Radio Land. And I'm going to get right into it. Mike, what's your issue?
Well, I have a couple of issues, but my main issue is I saw a report on I guess he's a sheriff or a commissioner of a small police department, I believe, down in Georgia.
Okay.
And I guess they had a lot of cold cases, cases that haven't been solved. And he told his officers to arrest black men. And if they had, whatever they had on them, just charge them with some of the cold cases in order to boost the records of him closing cases.
I wonder who let that out on him. Who snitched on him?
Actually, it was one of the police officers, or a couple of the police officers actually told on him. So, I have a problem with that. Number one, I guess my issue is, should he be charged?
Yes.
Because he's arrested, countless men,
right,
and charged them with bogus crimes. And
to boost his numbers.
Yeah, they're pulling these guys over for traffic offenses or whatever, and they still charge them with these cold cases for murders, for rapes, for whatever.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So hold on. Is the DOJ investigating? Is it Columbus? the Georgia State
I don't know,
Police?
man. And
that's crazy.
It's crazy. I was looking for it online, and it's hidden.
What?
Yeah, I'm sure it's out there, but I gotta find it. I gotta dig deep.
We got issues with that, people. Hey, if you can find that story of the Georgia police officer?
I think it's the Georgia police chief who told his deputies, his officers, to arrest black men and charge them with some of the cold cases that they hadn't solved.
I got an issue with that. I didn't even know. That's a good
issue.
And
he got all kind of accolades, of course, for closing all these cases. That the criminal who actually did the crime is still out there. Yes,
and probably was not an African American.
True.
We'll venture to say that. We got a caller in already.
Yep, got a caller.
All right, great.
Welcome to We've Got Issues.
Go ahead, caller.
All right, thank you.
Who are we talking to?
Who are we speaking with?
Joy Jordan.
Hey, give it up for y'all. That's in the studio. That's Dr. Joy Jordan.
The good dentist.
The good dentist. The good dentist.
I just want to know more about the issues of what exactly were some of the more heinous crimes and what were the jail sentencing for some of these offenses?
You know what? I really don't know, but I'm assuming that they were probably pretty heavy sentences because, a lot of times the cold cases are for murders, for, rapes, for those types of crimes. Right. And they just couldn't find the suspect, and they go on the shelf as a cold case because they haven't been solved.
Wow. So, yeah, typically with a cold case, like you said, those crimes are a little bit more heinous.
Right.
So that's crazy, though. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
So who will be the public defenders, or who will be the lawyers to review these cases to try to right the wrong?
Well, it should be the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions.
Right, and if I was down there in Georgia, I'd be doing it pro bono, just to tear him out the frame. Come on. A lot of stuff like that does not come to light. You know what I mean?
But you would think that the Department of Justice would open up an investigation and look into these allegations and see if they hold weight.
Absolutely. Well, Joy, thank you so much for calling. Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's Dr. Joy Jordan, man. That's Dr. Joy
Thank
Jordan,
you.
one of the baddest dentists out here. I'll give her a round of applause in the studio one more time. Thank you, Joy. Now, let's keep moving here. Duran, what's your issue?
Bye.
Okay, bye. What's your issue?
Okay, we got issues.
We got issues.
Okay, now all of these stops are with these players and everything by the policemen and everything. I don't know. I think both parties are kind of. We got these millennials in
Right.
this generation.
Right.
Some of them think they're a little above the law. They walk around like John Wayne with guns in the car and everything. But if you go back on that old Oakland Raiders team,
Right.
you would arrest half of that team. I mean, for
Right.
things that they would be.
Who's that dude, the sticker dude? Lester Hayes? Jack Tatum?
Lester Hayes, Dr. Doom,
Yeah, they had
George Atkinson,
Well,
Jack Tatum.
let's not forget who paid those salaries. Mr. Al
Exactly.
Davis.
Yeah, Al Davis. Yeah,
There
that's
was
right.
rumors that he went to the prisons to get those players.
Right, yeah, right. Halfway house, put that uniform
Right.
on. Right. It was almost like that movie with Burt Reynolds. What was that movie?
The Longest
The
Yard.
Longest Yard type
Right.
stuff.
But what I'm saying is you have to separate that's sports,
Mm-hmm.
and certain things. Now, performance enhancing drugs, I could see.
Right.
It affects the game in a certain way, but some of these things, they're just like the national anthem, which we've been over.
Yes,
tons
we
of
did a
times.
show about that a couple weeks ago.
Right.
You're mixing in football that people. When I was a kid, I didn't want to go see no one. To be honest with you, I didn't want to see anyone kneeling around. I wanted to go see football.
Right, I
All
want
my
you to
little
go pop-
cards I done tacked on the wall. My baseball cards. I don't want to see anyone.
Well, let me ask you this,
Celebrate the
because
Excellent
you know
issue.
when you brought that up about the anthem, the protest wasn't about the anthem. It was about police brutality, the crimes that are going on in the hood,
Which
in
haven't stopped, by the way,
neighborhoods.
people.
Right, and so the narrative was changed by the media and made it into they're protesting against the anthem, and it wasn't that at all. In fact, they took the knee to show respect to the flag, not to disrespect the flag. And the story was just changed, and
course.
it got blown out of proportion.
Oh, yeah.
And Kaepernick is still
Blackballed.
2 years,
from the
2
pros.
years
That's-
now
that's a
without a
bad
job.
deal.
Excellent issue, though. My issue is always, for this particular week and really every week, I'm just going to highlight it today, is attitude. To me, attitude is everything. For example, so the Browns are playing right now. Listen, how was your attitude toward the Browns last year? And how is your attitude toward the Browns this year? To me, you can almost overcome anything with the right attitude. You guys agree with that?
Yeah,
So my
I agree.
issue is I would love to have our people out there listening maintain a positive attitude at all times, because the way you feel comes through your heart, it comes through your spirit, it comes through a phone call, it comes through everything. So my issue is have a positive attitude at all costs. What's the alternative?
Yeah.
Right?
Your attitude determines your altitude.
It
So-
sure does. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, having a positive attitude. When you're interacting with people, when you're going about your everyday, 9 to 5,
Oh,
or
yeah.
you're going through the ups and downs of life, having a positive attitude. It's so many benefits to having a positive attitude.
Yes, there's no doubt.
You definitely can change the direction you're going with a
Absolutely.
positive
And
attitude.
you can also affect others around you
That's
as
right.
well. And that's what I think it's all about too. So let me go keep going with it. So how's your summer been so far, Mike? You're getting out this summer. I know you've been busy.
I've been busy. I been working out. I did a little traveling. Went
Okay.
down to North Carolina to see my mom and my sisters.
Nice.
And I took a trip to Boston, actually, just a one-day, a one-tank trip, I guess.
A one-tank trip, yeah, that's how- yeah.
A little more than a tank.
Yeah,
but-
tank and a half trip.
Yeah, just drove up to Boston and drove back the next day
Nice.
with a friend of mine, my girlfriend, and her son, dropping him
Okay.
off to spend some time with his
Nice,
uncle.
which means you did most of the driving.
I drove all the way back and part of the way up there.
Mike's an
Yes.
excellent driver, by the way, so I can see that. I can see that. Yeah. What about you, Duran? How's your summer going so far?
So far, pretty good. I'm spending a little time with family this summer.
Okay.
I've been real busy, putting in a lot of hours.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
I'm at,
yeah.
And it's
Right, you've been on the same job for 30 years?
Yeah, it'll be 25 years on the
25 years. That's man, I'll tell
That's
you right
awesome.
now. That's
Oh,
awesome,
yeah.
man.
You
That
don't
is
see
awesome.
that a lot.
You
A
don't.
lot of there's no loyalty in business anymore.
Right.
So you have people who I don't know about you. When I was growing up, my parents instilled in me, go to school, get a degree, get a good job, stay on that job 30 years, retire, And my father was, he retired from the post office after so many years. My mom retired from the school system after so many years. But today, it's no loyalty from businesses to employees, and definitely no loyalty from employees to businesses.
No doubt about it. And it shouldn't be. I mean, to me, I think that, it's almost a highest bidder mentality.
Right.
I mean, and let's keep it real. Look at Barack Obama, for example, one of the greatest president that I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Hey, he's the president for, 8 years? So is there any job that he could get that's going to exceed that? No, I don't think so. Maybe money-wise, but not
I don't
power-wise. But so my point I'm making is, you can't be the president for 30 years and make a career out of it like that.
Yeah, but that's a stressful job. So I'm sure there are a lot of
Trump
jobs.
makes it look like, anyway, don't even get me started. People got issues with that, and that's a 2-part show.
It's like a 10-part
And a
show.
10-part show. But it's a lot of things going on in terms of the city right now. We're excited about the Indians, excited about the Browns. I got to ask you guys, have you guys been in any of these festivals? A lot of festivals going on around Cleveland this summer. You guys been getting out to any of these festivals?
We got to a few. I went to the Greek festival. That's where I met
That's where we went to the
we
festival.
got together on that.
Yeah.
one.
I didn't see any Alphas, Qs, and it was real Greeks there, Mike.
Right.
It was real Greeks at that festival.
There was
I
just
like, what
one
about
Alpha and one Omega there.
Right. I was like, hey, Phi. They was like, hey.
That's when you could taste the real gyro.
Oh, yeah, the real gyro. Yeah.
Right.
Hero, gyro, it was interesting. But it was a lot of festivals. I mean, in terms of, you look at it this way. Okay, so Wednesday is Wade Oval, right? That's a festival.
Right.
Thursday is Edgewater.
Live.
Friday is Euclid Beach.
We had one just the other day on the West 6th Street. I don't know what festival that was.
Oh,
but it was
really?
the West, yeah.
Oh, I think that was the Arts Festival.
Oh, the Arts Festival?
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, people out there, get out to some of these festivals. It's a blast. You owe it to yourself. And let's see, it's a festival almost every neighborhood, almost every weekend during the summer. I think it's a great thing. I
think they need to be publicized a little bit more too. So that I know where they are and I can get to them.
Right, exactly.
Now that the city is using the waterways to the advantage, building businesses, restaurants right around the river.
Right.
People are coming in and seeing Cleveland. It's a really big surprise to a lot of people.
You're right.
There's negative image on the national media.
Yeah,
I tell you, I've been here for years and
Right.
I haven't went anywhere.
Right.
Yeah,
That's true.
I used to Uber, and several times I picked up a couple of people who are from out of town, and they were talking about how much they enjoyed Cleveland. And it was a big surprise. People, and especially in media, they play it down.
Yeah, of course they
Who wants to
downplay
go
it.
to Cleveland?
Right. Yeah.
Cleveland has a lot going on right now.
No doubt. There is a revitalization. Let me ask you, I remember back in the day, man, you could get off at, I remember when Public Square with Tower City was empty with a train in the bottom. Remember that? I mean, it was nothing going
Big
on.
train station.
It was nothing down there. And now you look at it now, man, I mean, it's amazing to me, the revitalization. And there's a lot of stuff going on in Cleveland during the summer in particular.
Yes.
What do you guys think of the boat things, in terms of the water? And a lot of us African Americans, we take advantage of the water maybe 3 or 4 times a year. Some of us used to have boats back in the day. But my point I'm making here is that you got the Good Time 3 and the Nautica. Have you been on that this summer, you guys?
I haven't.
But
I've been on it, and it's a really nice experience.
Of course.
I have not been on it. As you know, the Omegas, we hold our annual boat ride last Friday of June every year. I missed it this year.
Right.
And also, I won 2 tickets. I was at a festival.
Right. So there you go.
Last weekend.
Okay.
And they had a raffle. I bought some tickets and won 2 tickets to the Good Time 3 in a couple of weeks. So it's an afternoon cruise.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something. We don't, in my opinion, don't take advantage of the water as much as we should.
Yeah.
In terms of fishing, we were talking about that. Learning how to fish, and not learning how to fish, but going fishing.
Back fishing.
And doing that kind of thing. So it's a beautiful thing in that regard. So summer is, I don't want to say.
It's getting away.
It's getting away. I mean, August is the second to last month.
Yeah, I was.
September 21st is the end of the summer, right?
Yeah.
Around.
What were you going to say?
I was at Daniel E. Morgan School today.
Okay.
And again, the Omegas, we always have Health Awareness Week there.
Okay.
And I was talking to the principal and one of the teachers, and they said school starts Monday for them.
Wow.
Already.
Already, man. Oof.
Seems like it's starting earlier and earlier and earlier.
LeBron James School just started last week. I mean, you know,
Right.
yeah, that's ridiculous, man. What summer vacation going from like May to August? That
Right.
ain't cool.
Yeah.
We should go back in September
In
after
September.
Labor Day. Yeah.
We'll be ready to watch the football.
Right,
Absolutely.
but you
Football
went
game,
to
man.
school through June.
Yeah,
Like
to
the
June,
middle
that's
of
right.
June,
Yeah,
right?
you sure did.
Yeah.
And then some of those who were not studying used to go all year round. You call it summer school, but you know what we mean by that, people. I got issues with going to school in the summer unless I'm taking a college course to get out quick.
And us Catholic school kids went, August to May.
August to May, we sure did. We sure did. Let me ask you, a lot of concerts are coming to Cleveland, and I was talking earlier when you and Mike were talking offline, and we're talking about attitude too. Do you guys think that music also can affect your mood?
Yeah, it definitely can. It can affect it positively and negatively.
Exactly.
I was just listening to a show on the radio the other day, and they were asking that question. Should some of these musicians who talk about women and killing and drugs and stuff,
Guns and all, yeah.
and then when someone actually takes up that mantle and does a crime, should they be held accountable as well?
Well, wow, that's another. What do you think about that?
No, I would say not.
I would say no.
Because I think everyone, from the time you grow up to the time you reach adulthood, you know right from wrong.
Yes.
At least you should.
Yeah, but I know music can kind of play into that, but I think it comes with more of the upbringing, because you could listen, you could be in bad crowds, you could be around bad people all day, but if you know right from wrong, you're not going to do it.
I mean, for me, like,
What
for
about
example,
peer pressure?
Peer pressure is
It's real.
Yeah,
It's
peer-
real.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the exception to the rule there.
Right.
You got some people who, you got leaders and followers, and you got these people, and the music can, because you just think you exercise, and you were just
Right.
talking about you working out and
Yeah.
everything.
Right.
You work out
You
your
listen to that record, I'm
Right, you're
gonna
not-
fly down. You
Right,
start
right,
all
right. You-
pumped
you
up.
get pumped up,
You like,
yeah,
yeah, let me go. I'm
absolutely.
going fast.
And music
Now,
can do that. I mean, ain't no
my
stopping us
adrenaline
now.
is going,
Ain't
and
no
I'm
stop.
like,
Move on up, Curtis Mayfield. You can keep on going. It does affect your attitude and your mood. And just lastly about that one, before you say anything, Mike, is that it's a lot of babies that been made to some music. So yeah, music can set the mood. If you don't turn off the light a candle.
And I think if you did hold the musicians, the artists, responsible, then I think you also have to hold movie producers
Wow.
and
Say
executives
that
that's
again.
getting
Say that
into a
again.
whole
Say
nother
that again.
accountable as
Exactly.
well.
But there are issues with and between all of that. I'll give you an example. And here's something that I'm just want to throw out one since you mentioned that. And I really didn't want to bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. So I'm watching this TV show the other day, and it's called Love Connection. Y'all remember Love
Yeah.
Connection?
Love
Okay.
Connection.
Chuck Woolery used to do it
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Love Connection, they had a brother, and then they had the three girls, and they had a lady, right, and the three guys. But this particular episode, they had the guy and three guys.
I'll try it again.
What? I know that I'm not. No, listen, I'm cool with the LGBTQ community, all of that. But when I watch Love Connection, my definition of Love Connection, people, is not a guy sitting there with the dude with the host talking about three dudes that he went out on a date with, and they're kissing, and I was like, that. What do you think of that now? Do you think sometimes that I know we're a little bit? I like to call it schooled. I don't like that divisiveness of old school, young school. I call kids, you know what I mean, preschool, Head Start, whatever. But what do you think of that? You think that's a little bit too far in Love Connection, for example? Would you watch that?
I personally would not watch it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's here,
It's here.
and
I mean, it's here.
we have to kind of be accepting of, all nationalities, all genders, all preferences.
Right.
And but for me personally, I don't want to see it.
Man, I'm watching that dude. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Then they had one guy, but the brother was 6'4". Oh my goodness, I'm thinking he should be playing. He looked like Tristan Thompson.
I'm like,
wait a minute.
there's another group that's going around, and I can't remember what they're called, but they are men who dress up like women, and they're going into schools and reading stories to the kids. And
What?
Yes.
What?
So is that going too far? And we're talking elementary
That's
school.
a dicey situation.
That's a dicey
Yeah,
situation.
you only get story time in kindergarten, first,
Right.
second
Their
grade.
minds are still impressionable.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the difference. What do you think about that whole thing about that? If you're watching that Love Connection and you see, I mean, think of Chuck Woolery would have never had that on that show back then.
Oh,
I just
no, it
can't see
wasn't
it.
acceptable.
But when you're watching Love Connection, I said to myself, I said they better have a show later on with one woman dating 3 other women. You know what I mean? Something.
Yeah.
You're gonna go all the way, then go all the way. You know what I mean? But it's an interesting dynamic.
But can you imagine having a conversation with your children when they come home from school and they say, "Yeah, we had story time, and it was a man, him, she." And she was reading us a story about Larry and the plumbing guy.
Right.
And that's the good thing about that. That's what I was thinking about. I think it more or less affects the child. I mean, where they don't understand. We know we have to adapt to certain changes that's going on into the world.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly.
Because it affects us, but the children, that's the only thing you would have to explain to them why these situations, and it would be hard to just say a 7, 8, 9-year-old,
Yeah.
10-year-old.
Oh
kid.
yeah, absolutely.
There's no doubt about it.
And even younger than that, because kindergarten is 6.
Right.
Exactly.
6, 7. That's first grade. That's
That's impressionable.
That's very impressionable.
That's something that.
and I don't want to have that conversation.
I don't want to have that conversation at that age. You know what I mean?
Not at that
I don't
age,
want to have
right.
that conversation, man. It
Right.
doesn't make any sense. But that's another thing. TV, music can affect it. We were talking about this offline as well. I have issues for me personally. I'm not that PlayStation guy. If I did, I'll play Madden or whatever. But I'm not that guy who's going to go out and buy that PlayStation. When I was growing up, I went to the arcade. I played pinball. I did all that. What do you think that today? I was watching a story where the parents are getting coaches to teach their kids how to play this certain video game. Okay, I forget the name of the video game, but do you think that back in the day we would go to a place where there was a pinball arcade? You would go, you do the little foosball. It was fun. It wouldn't be no need for Dave and Buster's. There was a pinball machine or whatever on every corner. But now these kids are locked away in the basement, playing all these games that are really violent. What do you guys think about that?
Well, that's the evolution of the game.
Yeah.
I think that, you're bringing it into your home so you can monitor more of what they're playing, because they had some violent games. I mean, think about Galactica. You're blowing up ships and stuff.
Yeah.
And
But
they
it
always
wasn't
had the shooting game with the westerns and
Oh, yeah,
cowboys.
yeah.
All we had is that ship that what did you
Battleship,
Battleship.
right? And Rock'em Sock'em
Right,
Robots,
right.
all that.
So-
We had electric football.
It's
I was electric
just
football champ.
evolved.
Well, we had to hit the board.
It's just evolved so much now that it's more real. You get more 3D,
It's much more
more
expensive
4D.
too, Mike. You're paying $300 for one of the games, for the system, right? And then you're buying the games at $30, $40, $50 a pop. I mean, geez, you can take a roll of quarters and play pinball all day back in the day.
yeah.
Get free games
Get
and all
free
kinds
games,
of,
you'll be
you know what I
okay.
mean?
Well,
And you were around people. You were in an environment as
Yeah,
opposed
but,
to being in your
but
basement.
have you been to what's the one down in the flats that has
Punch
all the-
Bowl?
Punch Bowl,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then there's one in Lakewood.
Yeah. That's super
16
electric.
bits or 32 bits.
Then we got Super Electric over there in Gordon Square.
Right,
Yeah,
and those aren't quarter games anymore.
yeah, they aren't. I miss some of the games. I'll tell you some of the games that didn't cost any money. I have no issues with these games. You guys remember Bat and Ball?
Oh yeah,
Remember Jacks?
yes.
Back in the day, yeah.
Jack King.
Yeah, Jack. I was a Jack King. Onesies,
Yeah,
twosies.
Jack,
right.
Drop the ball,
Right.
baby. That
But
was
the
a game.
girls will get mad
Oh,
when
the
you
girls
beat them
will-
doing
Oh,
it.
wouldn't
Ain't you supposed to be playing ball?
Oh, something like
But,
that.
I think
Yes.
that's what's changed is that we have a lot of parents now that are afraid to send their kids out. My mother and father would say, "Get out the house,
Right.
Go play."
Right.
And we make up games.
Right, that's
Remember,
right.
we had rock school, we had jump rope, we
Right.
had hopscotch.
Yeah, Mother May I,
Exactly.
Simon Says.
Hide and seek,
Yeah,
tag,
yeah.
freeze tag, Mother May I. I mean,
that.
all these old games.
That didn't cost anything.
Right.
Right.
And we had fun.
And we were where? Outside.
Right.
Right.
These guys
We
are
used to play. We used to play outside.
Play
We didn't
football.
play on. we
Play
didn't
football in the
play-
street.
street
Come
man
on.
too on the card
Yeah.
catching before 2
But that
feet
brings
in.
another issue into play because then a lot of both parents are in the homes. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
back
That's true.
in a long time.
That's
ago.
true. That's
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
You had the father would work, the mother be at home most of the
Right.
time.
That's
taking
true.
care
I
of
read
them.
a story on video games versus obese, heavy children.
Obesity.
Yes. These kids are playing the video games and not getting out doing anything. You see what I'm saying? So that it could be something. I got issues with. I think that the kids should get out, and I love those old games. I love them. I heard you were telling me the other day. that we grew up near Woodhill Park, and Durant is like the horseshoe champion. He's like, I remember horseshoes back in the day.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
horseshoe,
another great
right,
game.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we used to play ping, badminton, and all that kind of stuff from back in the day.
But what do
man.
you tell the parents whose argument to letting their kids go out to play is they're scared that their kids are going to get shot? Yeah.
You know that's a
drive-by
sticky.
shooting.
I don't know.
That's-
I can't. I don't even know where to go with that because
I
you
mean, you
can't
got
blame
the
them.
the
And
games
it's
and
the
everything.
truth what he said, because there's certain areas you live in, of course.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
It's
your
rough.
kid could just be out there playing, and little Johnny that got mad, he's riding around on a bicycle with a pistol. And
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
to shoot little Fred,
Yeah.
and he's your kid. So, I mean, no, I'm serious. It's not
Yeah.
got that
It
bad,
has,
though, in
it
certain
has.
neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why
So-
that brings another dynamic.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to pay homage.
Yes. Pay homage to our sponsors.
Yes.
Yes, I want to say, where's the camera right here? I'm going to look into this camera here. I want to thank our sponsors, Clum Creative.
Thank you.
Clum Creative is located at 2510 St. Clair Avenue, Suite 102. The website is www.clumcreative.com. We do video. They do video production for anything that can do video, whether it's a website, whether it's a party, whether it's an event, whether it's your business getting advertised. Everything now, guys, is on video, isn't it? Look at your phones.
That's it.
Everything is on video. Call us at Clum Creative. The number is 440-984-9642. That's 440-984-9642. And check it out on the website, www.clumcreative.com. Thanks for sponsoring the show. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to cover this before we get into this Browns thing a little bit more. And I call this "Come to Your Senses" segment.
Okay.
We have everybody 5 senses, right?
How many?
Exactly.
5, right?
Five
We got
senses.
hearing, touch, taste, smell, and of course sight.
Okay.
I was looking at an article where you can if you could sell, just a thought, if you could sell one of your senses for $1 million net, not after taxes, because we all know if you got $1 million check, once the government take their money, you got $683,000. So they're gonna take their $317,000. So you got your 5 senses. Which one of your senses would you sell for $1 million?
Wow.
I'll tell you right off, my
Okay.
hearing.
Your hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. And why?
Opposed to the other ones. I'm doing the process of elimination.
Okay.
I gotta see.
Okay.
Even if I could see, I could touch what I see.
Okay.
Well, and if I gotta have my other senses, because I don't think I could function at all without them.
Okay.
But if I can't hear, at least I could get vibrations.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
I could know what's going on
Okay.
around
That's
me.
a good point.
You know.
Yeah.
I would never be able to listen to beautiful music.
Yep, that's me. I couldn't do
Could
it.
never be able to hear the voice of the loved one,
Okay.
or.
Okay.
But
So
everything
here-
else I'll have.
So you would keep taste, touch.
Oh, yeah.
smell,
and you
and
could tell
sight.
I would keep taste. I gotta eat.
Okay.
now.
So here's my
Gotta eat.
question. Here's my thing. So say for example, and I want each other of us to shoot holes in each one of our choices, because there are holes in each one.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
personal choice, right? Everybody's got issues with everybody else's choice in that. So say for example, somebody's running up on you and there's a fire, and I'm like Duran, there's a fire. He's like. You can't hear me, right?
Well.
So I'm just saying. So what about you? What's yours?
I think I would have to go with. I don't know if I think maybe smell.
Smell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smell is a tough one too for me, because you think about that smell of bacon. I like the smell of gasoline in the dryer. You ever smell
Yeah,
gas in the
I do
dryer?
too.
Yeah, the way the dryer smells. So why would you say smell?
Well, I think I could live without it.
Okay.
I think I can. I can still taste the food that I eat.
Okay.
I don't have to smell it.
Can you?
I can still taste it.
Yeah.
Would you smell? I think it's well.
Oh,
Yeah, I could taste it.
Okay.
But not smelling it. I mean, smell is good. It gives me the anticipation of what I'm about to eat.
Right.
But other than that, I want to eat it.
You want to eat it? Yeah.
And then on the flip side, I don't have to smell some of these odors that I smell.
Some of us make our own odors too that we don't want to smell people.
Yeah, we don't want to smell that.
You know what we're talking about. Yeah.
Right.
So I understand that. That
yeah,
makes sense.
So
Yeah.
mine would be smell.
Okay, smell. Mine would be taste. I would give up taste only because I still got to eat, and half the stuff I eat, I don't know what it tastes like anyway anymore. I'm just teasing. But taste would be taste. I could. Here, just put it to you this way: I would miss the taste of pie, oranges, fruit, whatever it may be. But that's one that I could give away.
Chitlins,
Yeah, I could give away.
For the long haul, you
I'd
could
take that $1
give-
million check and be like, man, I can't taste that.
But think how good chitlins would be now if you couldn't smell them.
Ah,
You got a point. I would
yeah.
start back eating pork.
Right. So that's another one. I got one more for you on coming to your senses.
That's a good point.
Another one I've got on coming to your senses for you guys is I always think that, and this maybe is a military background, whatever. I always think that there's two things one thing that you can never have enough of. I don't care if it's clothes. I don't care what it's, and my thing is water. Isn't that the number one thing that we really, really need? You can't have enough water. We don't think about it.
Yeah.
And we're so, at least I am. I'm so I don't want to say engulfed or whatever you want to call it, but I am so entranced in our system. We take electricity for granted. We take water for granted. Your body cannot live 7 days without water. I don't care if you got 52 billion in the bank.
Right.
If you ain't got if you don't have water. So for me, water, I call it an emergency kit. For example, can you barbecue?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Can you barbecue?
Absolutely.
So these are things that everybody should have. You should have a barbecue grill, right?
Yes.
Okay?
Maybe
so the
two.
lights go out, you got plenty of water. Listen, they've been barbecuing since the beginning of time, right?
Yeah.
How do you think they cooked? Right? You got to have a grill, charcoal, water, and one of the things that we take for granted is can openers. Everybody got electric can opener, right? We don't have that.
I have to twist.
We have both. We got to be able to open the cans,
Right.
And then, of course, matches, right? But now, let me ask you something. What happened? I got an issue with this, and I only have an issue, guys, because I didn't think of it first. That's the only reason. And listen, what happened to the fact that most of us, me included, we are sometimes in a rush. We pay $1 a bottle for water. How did that happen, guys?
I know,
You know what
how
I mean?
it happened. I tell you what, I took one trip right down here at the Great Lakes Science Center.
Okay.
They showed the water that was not filtered
Right.
versus the water that was filtered. I started buying bottled water every single.
Right, but still
Really?
$1.
Yeah.
Why?
But we know
But
water is brown.
Because it's the pollutants that people put in water. The filter could never take everything.
So
out
let
of
me
that
ask you
water.
this
Yes.
though. What about shelf life? So the water that we're buying in the stores, number one, how well are they regulated?
Yeah, Zephyr
And
Hills.
I wonder about that.
Zephyr Hills, all that kind of stuff.
Right. How well are they regulated? So are they at the same regulations that normal tap water is?
I would
Because
assume they
tap
have
water
to be.
does have some regulations
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it has to be, certain.
Keeps the dentist busy,
chemicals
Dr.
and-
Joy, because it's got a lot of fluoride in it.
Right,
Water got a lot of fluoride
right.
in it.
And then number two is, if it's on the shelf for a period of time,
Mm-hmm.
does it change?
I would assume and say no
can't
to that.
see
But
it.
my point is,
I
I
can't
don't
see
know
a
why.
changer.
When we were growing up, my mother would buy a a case of the distilled water and the spring water, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
The gallons, right?
Right.
Okay. Right now, most people go buy water, but most people don't have enough water in their homes to last. If there's a water problem, or the lights go out,
Right.
or you need candles and water, and your grill, and you can still go ahead and the can opener, you can still move, or you can still
Right.
eat, right?
Right.
But that $1 for water came out of nowhere to me.
it
When we were
did.
growing up,
It
man,
did.
when we were growing up, it was a different animal with that. So that's something else that I.
Yeah,
things
and
that-
places like Flint, Michigan, who
Oh
have,
boy!
yeah.
Excellent
the
point.
lead in the water. That's
Excellent
I'm sure
point.
they're happy to buy that $1
Yes,
water.
yes, they are. Yes, they are. So now we're going to go ahead and move forward and talk a little bit now about the sports aspect of Cleveland.
You're right.
And that's why I brought my man in here. Durant works at a facility at a place where professional athletes come there, and that's where they rest, so to speak. So he has seen a plethora of during the NBA season. You see all 41 teams. During the Brown season, you see all the teams. So let me ask you something. Two things. One, are you excited this year so far about the Browns?
I'm very excited. I can't wait.
Okay.
I started to start barking when I came in because it's Brown season back again.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited because number one, we got football people to really running the thing. Like you told me the other well, we had that. We said
Right,
that
we had it
every
all the
year.
time, right.
Had a long- And another thing is, we have a quarterback that's been to the playoffs. He don't make mistakes. He don't turn the ball over. I remember time and time again last year I would watch the Browns play. They'll go drive downfield. They'll have a lead late in the game. and they would make that bad
Ball-headed.
turnover that would just deflate the defense.
And self-destruct,
the
yeah.
defense would go back out on the field and say, "Oh, here we go again." That's come from an inexperienced rookie quarterback and a line who was just shifting in and out. Now we have a quarterback that I know he's going to cut down on the mistakes, and we have some on paper now. I see a really vast improvement on the Browns team. Now, there's a few little issues like on the line, the
Hey, that's
offensive
an
line.
NFL show, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, defensive line, they got inexperience in the middle there.
Okay.
But we always got Jamie Meter. He's an action bug. He goes all over the place. He's
Okay.
a
And I
little
like
undersized middle.
Ogunjobi. He's
Ogunjobi is good. He's
Yeah. That's our
he's going to be the
interior.
key, but that's what I mean by the inexperience. But
but then you have Myles Garrett and
Agba.
Agba on the other end. And
Agba I really like, and that's why
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't draft that other kid that everybody
Chubb.
went Chubb.
Yeah.
Because Agba, this guy runs like a 4.5 off the end, and
Yeah.
he's a specimen, and he's a natural quarterback. He goes after the quarterback.
Okay. So let me ask you this. One of the things that I think is excellent in life, and one of the things that makes America great or whatever, is a second chance, right? We all believe in a second chance, right?
Right.
Now, it's a clean slate for the Browns, right? I'm just going to say to you guys, what's the record going to be? What do you think? I'm saying I'm going to make my prediction right now: 5-11 at best. You?
I looked at the schedule. They have a very tough schedule. I'm going to say they're going to win 6 or 7 games.
Okay. You?
It's more like the same. I'll say about 7 games and yeah, 7.
I think coming
7
out the
and
gate,
9.
we can surprise a couple of teams, but
But
the
I'm gonna put
defenses will adjust to our offense
Okay.
and start playing us differently because teams, I think, are used to playing the Browns where they can put 8, 9, 10 guys in the box and not really worried about the receivers.
Now they got to worry about the receivers now.
They have to worry about the receivers. They have to worry about our running backs. We have a quarterback that can get rid of the ball quickly. He's not going to make. He's pretty accurate, and he's not going to make a lot of mistakes.
Okay.
So
With LeBron James being gone, right? And even when he was here, and of course the Indians went to the World Series a couple of times when LeBron was here as well. I asked you guys this question: are we a football town? Is Cleveland a football town
always,
or a basketball town?
Football town.
always was, and always will be.
Always was and always will be.
Now,
And-
I'll say this, that, LeBron did a lot of great things. And he has brought this city a championship after many moons of not having one.
52 to be exact.
And I will forever be grateful to LeBron James and what he did for this city. And I'm sad to see him go, but I understand why he left. And I said this a while back to a coworker, that if the Browns go 8-8, if they make the playoffs by chance, this city will go nuts.
It would.
You'll see statues with brown scarves and hats on them. I'm telling you, this is a football
Football
town.
What about that parade they had last year?
Oh, it
The
was,
0-16
yeah.
parade.
They didn't
It
have,
took me two oh, you talking about the parade?
they didn't have that.
Yeah,
and I
Well,
think
they
shouldn't have.
they did have that little gathering because they were 0-16.
That's to me, that was just stupid.
Yeah, that was stupid. I'm excited about the Browns. I really am. We're always excited every year since 1999. And every year we have the same
See,
hope.
I don't judge it by 99, though.
I don't either, but
I
I'm
mean,
just
I
saying
don't
since
either.
99.
I mean, we've said this before, that I was the season ticket holder for 45
45 years.
So I started going to the Browns game when Nick Skorich was the head
Nick
coach.
Skorich.
Wow.
Leroy
Wow.
Kelly was at the end of his
Some of
career.
our audience wasn't even born
Right.
then. Yeah.
And so I saw, when I first started going to the Browns games, they were like 3-11, you know. Then they got good with the Kozar years, and they won, and they went to playoffs, and they were
Wasn't
the
Brian
beast.
Sipe before that?
Yeah, Brian. I was gonna say Brian
Well,
Sipe back in the '80s. But
Cardiac
they really
Kids.
got good in the Kosar years. But
They
we
did.
had that
Well,
one magical.
we had
season
one year
in
with
1980.
Sipe.
I was
where
at
he
that
was
game.
like,
That was
yeah.
a Cardiac Kids.
Against the Raiders.
I was there as well. Coldest game I ever been
Me
to.
too, man. They shouldn't let
Minus
Cockroach kick
38
that field goal.
below zero.
Yeah, I was there, and that was in the dog pound.
And
bleachers.
he threw the interception right in front of us. And
Mike Davis.
it was
Trying to
like
go
the
to Ozzie
wind the wind just left us.
Yeah.
It
That
got
got
about
cold.
20 degrees colder.
I know. You know,
And I love that team too.
Yeah, so did I.
And
So did
forgive
I.
me, Brian Sipe and Reggie Rucker and Ozzie Newsome for me leaving y'all out. But that was a good year.
that was
Oh,
a
yeah.
good year.
Oh,
yeah, that was the
yeah.
Cardiac Kids.
That was
We didn't have
Cardiac
one
Kids.
thing on that team, and that was a pass rush because we used to run that 3-4.
Yeah.
Our linebackers were great.
Yes.
Secondary was great.
Yes.
Just didn't have that pass rush.
They didn't have the pass rush at
I
all.
still see that vision of who was Bradley, I think it was. No, who was our nose tackle then? Big Hairston, was it?
Oh, Carl Harrelson.
Harrelson.
Carl
I
Harrelson,
think
yeah.
Carl Harrison was with Kozar. I
Yeah,
think-
that's what I mean.
Oh, yeah,
I
with
still see
Kozar.
that vision of the ball
Yes.
going
Elway.
just over his fingertip.
yeah.
And on a 4th and
On a fourth
15. If it would have just nicked the ball, we go to the Super Bowl.
And that was back-to-back years. So I was at the game when
That
they,
Denver, those Denver
for the
games,
drive.
they
We
were
call it,
gut-wrenching.
we call it the drive. So
Right.
I was at that game, and then the next year, I was at school. I was down in Tennessee, and I'm watching the game.
This
We're
is
getting blown out. We
That
come
comeback
back
was
the
excellent.
second half. Byner's crossing the end zone, and the guy just puts the helmet on the ball and knocks it loose.
But you know what people don't realize about that play? That wasn't Byner's fault, really.
Oh, absolutely
That was
not.
the safe. That was the safety. No, who was that? That was the wide receiver, Slaughter. He was supposed to take the safety out on a fly. He didn't.
And he
He
didn't.
just stood there, so the safety stayed in, seen the ball come out,
Yep.
pounced
Wow.
on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And people, but Byner he played his heart out.
And he
that
played
game.
his heart out.
He
man.
left it all
I
out there
couldn't-
on the field.
And you know,
People
this
still out
city,
there to blame him. For
yeah, this city turned on him.
They did.
I'm glad that
And he
they
came
Brought
embraced
him back for the
You
ring.
remember?
And he went to Washington and led the NFL in rushing a year after
Yeah,
that. You know what I mean?
that 1-2 punch with him and Kevin Mack was
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Last time
yeah.
we've had 2,000 yard rushers in the same
Yeah,
game.
Right.
that was yeah.
But I
used to
tell you
pound
what,
you.
we have some running backs now with Carlos Hyde
Chubb.
and Chubb
Boy, it was
and
a
Duke
beast from
Johnson.
Georgia.
Man,
Yeah, that's why Duke Johnson said, he sees some horses in the back. He said, I'll play
I'll
receiver.
play
Yeah,
receiver,
yeah,
right?
receiver.
Because
That's
he's
true.
seen what's back there.
Yeah.
That boy Chubb's a beast.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
beast,
So
man.
we'll see. I think if they can protect the quarterback, barring any injuries, they should be able to,
Well,
be
you've already
okay.
made your prediction.
I have made my
Yeah,
5-11. Listen, I have a lot of friends out there who are watching the show.
You gotta
and
give them one more
you know, I
time.
take that bet every year. Some of you guys are a little bit over the top. 11-5, 10-6. I've heard that. And then when it was 0-16, I think I collected $200.
But I toned it down this year. I'm a homer. And
Right.
I usually give them the benefit of the doubt. I
Right.
love my Cleveland sports team.
Right.
But I toned it down this
You
year. I'm
did?
going to say 7-9 and how they say?
Yeah. Win at home. That's what I say. Win at home. You know what I mean? Win at home.
Yeah.
That's my thing. That's my thing. So obviously everybody's excited about the Browns this year. I also think that we're really excited about the Indians are the truth.
Oh, yeah.
The Indians are the truth,
Yeah,
man.
they've been winning too,
Hey,
man.
man,
And I tell you what, and I'm glad
turned it
they're
up.
under the radar.
Yeah.
Because
You got 6 players in the
nobody's-
All-Star game. You're not under the radar, really.
everybody's talking about Boston and
Yeah,
Houston.
and yeah.
You know, they're saying, but you know what? We got our relief pitching back.
Yeah.
And we're going to be problems from 1 through 4 or 5 in the lineup. We make a pitcher sweat. A
Yes.
pitcher just today in the 4th inning, he threw almost 100 pitches.
Jeez.
Between Brantley, Ramirez.
Yeah, they're patient.
and-
They're patient.
Yeah, oh yeah. They'll make you throw. They'll
And
make you work.
Encarnacion.
Lindor and
Yeah.
Encarnacion.
Yeah.
And
That's a
Encarnacion,
tough
yeah.
lineup.
That's
Yeah.
so, one of the
For
things
any
that
pitcher.
one of the things I've always loved about the Indians in terms of, particularly over the last 20 years, their farm system is impeccable. Back in the day, here's their farm. Here's the people who came out of their farm system, right? You got Albert Bell, you got Kenny Lofton, you got Omar Vizquel, you got Manny Ramirez, you got Sandy
All
Alomar,
farm
you got Jim
You're
Tony,
right.
you got all those guys coming out of their farm system. Carlos Bayer, all these guys. The same thing is going on right now. You got Lindor, you got the one guy they just traded, Santana. Now, all these guys are in their farm system, and so they got a great farm system, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy for Cleveland sports this year. I want to see how it turns out.
Very quick side note though.
Yes.
What was more devastating to watch? That Cleveland Indians lost in '97 or the Browns, the drive with Elway?
For me, it was a dry.
I beg to differ.
But
I was
well, see,
at Game 7 in
I'm not a
Miami.
big.
Okay.
I'm not a big baseball guy.
Right.
I mean, I'm an Indians fan.
Right.
I root for them, but
You're a football purist.
when the rubber hits the road, I'm football.
Okay. Yeah. They don't do a lot of crazy tailgating at Browns for for the Indians and all that, but I still agree that since 1999 for the most part, those teams that are close at the Q and the Gund, at the Progressive, are better than this team that's on the lake. So to me, it's a football town, but they need to show up. They need to show up.
Hey.
That's all I can say about that.
All I can say is just win.
Yeah.
That's what Al
Just
Davis
win. Al
is
Davis
saying.
just
Just
win,
win, baby.
All right, we're going to move on a little bit more. We got our predictions from our guys. The Browns are currently playing right now. You're listening and watching We've Got Issues. We got Duran Freeman in the studio and my co-host, Emeritus, Michael Stitz.
And
Again,
call in and let us know what the score is.
absolutely. Call in and
Right.
let us know what's going on. I want to move on to a couple other things. And one of them is I think that these are things I think that everybody should know, right? For example, we live in the city of what? Cleveland, right? Who's the founder of Cleveland? Moses Cleveland. Moses Cleveland.
yeah.
Do you know that Moses Cleveland's name isn't even spelled like Cleveland? It's Cleav. Yes.
Are you sure?
Nope. Positive. I've only went down to the statue at Public Square 1,000 times. So trust me on this. His name is not C. It's not
His
like
three books, is it
turn.
the same way?
Moses Cleveland's name was not CL. It wasn't Cleveland. These are things I think everybody should know. Here's another one for you. We got 88 counties in the state of Ohio, right?
I don't know.
We do. What's the biggest county? And you would say Cincinnati, Hamilton County. You would say Cuyahoga County, Cleveland. You would say Franklin, Columbus, and you would say Lucas, Toledo, but it's not. Do you know that Ashtabula is the biggest of the 88 counties
By area?
by land?
Yeah. By
Oh,
area.
yeah.
What's the biggest suburb by land in Cuyahoga County? Parma. Did you know that?
Really?
You got Parma Heights, Middleburg Heights. Yes, Parma. Now, I'm just thinking things that I think that everybody should know. That's just one of these. You got anything that you think everybody should know?
Yeah, I would just have a question. Now,
Okay.
Go.
Go for it. Let's go. You got issues.
We got issues here.
Right.
If the city of Akron had a professional basketball team,
Right.
does LeBron James stay on that team
And not
opposed
go
to going
to LA? Oh.
No.
You say no.
I say no.
I say no also.
No.
I say LeBron's gone. No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, if the Cavs were the Akron Cavaliers,
Exactly.
Right.
he would still be.
He
gone.
would still be
He
there.
would
He
still
would
be
be
gone.
trying to find ways to get players there, or
Right.
especially if he had an owner he could work with, he would stay.
Who do you think? I agree with you. Who do you think in the last of Cleveland athletes? Where does LeBron James rank of best of Cleveland athletes of all time?
Of Cleveland athletes,
Yes, athletes who play for Cleveland.
Just Cleveland athletes.
I mean, like for
not
example,
excluding track and everything.
I mean, I'm bringing up. I'm saying any athlete who's played for our professional sports teams in any sport.
Oh,
So we're
played
talking
for
Cleveland.
sports
We're
team.
talking
Yes.
Browns, Indians, Cavs.
Yes.
Who am I missing? What about hockey? Or
Yeah, like I said, what about hockey?
Is that like a trick?
No.
Are you saying he's from Cleveland?
No. What I'm saying is
anybody that played for the Browns, for
professional
the
sport.
Indians,
For
or
example,
the
is
Cavs.
Jim Brown
Yes,
yeah, Jim
that
Brown
would be
and
the
LeBron?
closest thing you would
Jim
have.
Brown
That
and
would-
LeBron. Who's a better ambassador for Cleveland at this point?
ambassador,
Or
or,
what
who's the
I
better
would have to
player?
go
Better
with Jim
player.
Brown
Go Jim
just because of back in the times the way he did. It was he kind of stood out a lot.
Yeah.
Like LeBron got his people getting a little closer to him, like KD, whatever. But around the city of Cleveland, that's a close. They're close.
That's a
though.
close thing, yeah.
They're close because he did things I've never seen a basketball player do in my
So,
life.
are there any statues right now in front of the Q, or do we have any basketball players in front of the Q?
don't think
is there a
so.
statue?
No, they just have the murals
Okay.
of all the
So
players
does
around.
with LeBron? Now you know in LA,
He's
all
gonna get a statue.
In LA, they all get statues.
I think-
Magic got one. Kobe got one.
Yeah.
Shaq got one. Jabbar got one with the sky hook. All
Yeah.
that. Do you think that LeBron James deserves? Jim Brown has one at the Brown Stadium, right? Do you think that LeBron deserves a statue in front of the Q?
I would say yes.
Absolutely.
We
I
got
say
that big
yes.
mural. You
I
got
say
to get that
yes,
boy a statue.
yes.
I would say
Anytime
yes.
a person bring you to a championship after 50 years,
Yeah.
Yes.
you got to put a mural. You might want to build 2 there.
I would say yes, but I would still say that Jim Brown was the greatest.
I think so too. I think Jim Brown.
You know,
was
Jim
also.
Brown averaged 100.7 yards. He got 100 yards a game for his whole entire
Every
season.
game,
Every
yeah.
game. Amazing.
And he had
Well,
a
my
like
thing is-
4.5 something yard average.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
It's
they were
crazy.
playing, what, 12, 14
Yeah,
games?
yeah.
So, you know,
Right.
give Jim Brown 16 games and look what his numbers were.
And you know how long that all his records stood,
Yeah.
even with just the 12
And,
games.
and
he
if you
played?
think about the guys that broke Jim Brown's record, particularly Franco Harris.
Emmett Smith. all
And
these guys.
That's longevity.
Well,
Walter Payton.
Well,
Yes.
well, the record held until Franco broke it, and then Walter Payton.
Right.
I give Walter Payton his props, but Franco, his last few years in the league, he did a lot of running out of bounds.
Yeah, he would
Yeah,
just
he
skip
did,
out of
you know.
bounds. He made Jim Brown mad.
Yeah, he
right?
did. Yeah,
Right?
he
He
did.
did a lot of running out, and I'm not. I am a Pittsburgh hater,
Yeah, me
just
too.
for the record.
Oh, yeah.
But look at the tape.
Look at the
Franco
tape.
ran out.
No doubt. And I will say this.
and they also played a lot more years than Jim Brown
They
did
did.
too.
Yeah.
I think Barry Sanders was the closest thing in my life, just by me watching as a
Right.
running back that could. But he wasn't even on that level because Jim Brown had that combination of speed,
And strength.
size, strength, and balance that
Yeah.
you just didn't have in a
Just
running
didn't have.
back.
Yeah.
Barry was something else.
Yeah,
I agree
Barry
with that.
was
I think that Jim Brown
He was one of the first
is
little
off
turbo
the
backs.
court. I mean, his off the field attitudes, his off the field demeanor, his actions were something that LeBron is on path to do as well. I thought that Jim Brown, what Jim Brown has done outside of the game of football, let's keep it real, y'all. He hasn't played football since the 60s, but he still is relevant today. You know, in a lot of different arenas.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I think about Jim Brown. I think of these athletes today.
And you
are-
talked about second chances. Excuse me for interrupting, but you talked about second chances. You know, Jim Brown has some off the field issues too.
Whoa,
You know,
yeah.
so he's really stepped up to the plate. He's turned his life around. He's a shining example of what you know. I think I would be proud if my kids grew up and say, "I want to be like Jim Brown."
Yeah, I
You
agree with
know,
that. I got no issue with Jim Brown.
yeah.
I got no issue with Jim Brown.
And LeBron is
He's right
taking
there.
it to a whole new level.
A whole new level.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's I have never seen an athlete, or it's very rare. I shouldn't say never. It's very rare that you see an athlete who's played as long as LeBron and hasn't had any off the court issues.
And look at LeBron. Look at this kid, man. This kid, I mean, if you really think about it too, man, look at it from another standpoint. And we're all avid sports fans, right? This kid has had the white hot spotlight on him since high school.
Or
and he
earlier.
and he's
earlier.
delivered
Yeah.
the whole time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He's delivered the whole time. I mean, my favorite line in Cleveland sports history is Cleveland, this is for you.
you.
That is,
Right.
what else, man, that's something that you can say.
Well, since you brought LeBron into our discussion tonight, I would be remiss if we didn't mention again some of his work and some of his criticism.
Yes.
So, you know, he opened up the I Promise School down in Akron.
Yes, kudos to LeBron, big time. That was big time.
250,
Oh, yeah.
300
Oh,
kids.
yeah. And that's-
This school gives them bikes to ride to school, gives them free rides within 2 miles, gives the parents GED training if they don't have their GEDs, where they can get their GEDs. If they graduate, when they graduate, they get a free ride to Akron, University of Akron. I mean, I have never seen anyone do anything like that.
Nothing. Not even close.
At least not an athlete do anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Now, there have been other athletes that have opened up schools and they do great work, but kudos to LeBron.
Yeah, kudos,
now,
really.
I have to bring in this other guy who watched Don Lemon interview LeBron James.
Oh boy, yes.
And he went
Number
to
45?
He got his 2 short thumbs out
Right.
and started
He got
tweeting
baby hands, you know, yeah.
and
45,
said,
Trump.
you know, Don Lemon interviewed.
LeBron was just
made
interviewed by the dumbest man in
the
TV.
dumbest man in TV,
Right.
and he made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. I
Right.
like Mike.
What's your issue
Number
with that?
one, why criticize a man who is really trying to change the community?
Yeah,
he's
literally.
trying to uplift the community. Why would you
Have it in
stoop so low
Yeah.
to criticize him at that time?
Yeah.
Now, I know they're beefing. You know, LeBron called him a bum.
Yeah, that's what I was
Kind of agree with him, but he called him a bum.
That's another issue.
Right. But how do you, at that point, all the news was about LeBron opening his school, and you take to Twitter and call Don Lemon, a very well acclaimed, smart, intelligent man, just a dummy,
Yeah.
and then call LeBron the same thing. That's just crazy to me.
It doesn't make any sense. You're right. Some of the stuff.
And I got
that he
issues
tweets-
with that.
I got issues. What do you think? What did you think about that?
You know, I'd never seen a leader of our country or anything go that tit for tat or
Right.
anything.
You're
that.
running, yeah.
I mean,
you're
that's
the leader of the free world, and you're talking about. Come
There's
on.
other issues. You're
You're
talking
right.
about we got issues. There's other issues. That's
Oh, man,
way-
it's-
come on, don't try
Yeah.
to. And then to top it off, he's doing something that these public systems should have been doing, you know,
No
a long
doubt.
time ago.
Right.
And he's helping.
Hey,
doing
doesn't our
something
lottery
for-
money supposed to go to the schools?
Oh,
Right.
Exactly.
Where's the lotto money
And
going?
see,
Right.
he's opened
And
the
he's-
door. The president has opened the door for now. People are saying, well, LeBron doesn't have any experience in education, so now he's opening himself up. Well, if you don't take a chance, people, what
You
what
got to
do you
step
have
out
left?
on faith. Exactly.
That's it. What do you
I
have
mean,
left?
it doesn't make any sense when it comes down to that. I mean, you know, let's you take it a little bit step further with Trump and a lot of stuff. I mean, wow. Is all I can say is wow. I thought that I could stop being surprised by some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth. But every single day, he just tops himself,
Right.
which I thought was hard to do.
And you would think that he would have more issues. I mean, I don't know if you all noticed, but gas is starting to creep back up.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Obama
You
had
know.
us at $1.99. That's
Right.
an all-time low.
Right.
And don't get it twisted, America. We get our gas from Canada, Mexico, and Alaska. So what are we doing over there?
Right.
Let's keep it real. Our gas
Well,
every day
pissed,
comes.
he's pissed Canada and Mexico
How do you
off,
piss
so.
off Canada? It's part of North America. Come on, man.
Yeah, Mexico too.
Canada was like, hey,
Come
dude,
on.
y'all got to get passports now.
Right.
You know, y'all got to get passports now. You know, but you're right. He did exactly just that. You know, as the show gets ready to come down to a close, we had a lot of great issues here today in terms of talking about the Browns. Your prediction again?
7-9.
7-9, and this is Duran Freeman, my friend Manfred. We've been on each other for 30 years.
man.
Duran will be a reoccurring guest on our show, particularly during the football season and beyond. And of course, my brother emeritus, brother from another mother, Mr. Stitz, one of the keenest brothers I've ever met in my life. It's always a pleasure to sit next to
yeah.
you and do this show.
Thank you. And
always-
I say 6-10, 7-9.
That's let's get to your yeah. Get out, Cleveland, and enjoy the water. Go to some of these festivals.
Beautiful
Treat
out there
one
tonight.
another nicely. Do something for others, and always have a very, very, very positive attitude. Because, like my friend here always says, you got to give it away to do what?
To keep it.
You got to give it away to keep it. You know, at the end of the day, man, we are we got, right? And we want you to continue to watch our show. We've got issues, and listen to our show every Thursday night from 8 to 9. And thanks again for listening. And we'll see you guys next week.
We're gonna close
And we're going
with
to close
prayer.
with a prayer. Mike?
So, Father, we just thank you for another day that we've never seen and a day that we'll never see again. We thank you for guiding us, guarding us, and protecting us as we go about our day. We ask for traveling grace and mercies as we go to our appointed destinations. And we'll be ever so mindful to lift your name up in praise. We give you all the praise and glory for everything that you're doing and everything that you've done and everything that you will do. Thank you so much. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I got no issue with that, people.
Make sure you tune in, join us, like us.
That's right.
We've got issues.
See you next week, everybody.